Hello, this is Beastly Eel, and on today's episode, we're going to be talking about MODOK. MODOK, the TV show. So, for those of you who haven't seen it, it's on Hulu. All of season one is out. There's potential of a season two, although I don't think it has been officially confirmed yet. So, MODOK, give you a little synopsis of MODOK in general. MODOK in the comics is a creation that was made by AIM, which is a scientist group, and it was a genetically modified humanoid type creature who basically looks like a floating head sitting in a chair with hands like this and everything else. Not necessarily the best villain of all time. Definitely also not like the most well-known villain either. So they created this, and they created this show, and it's very similar to the animation in um, Adult Swim's Robot Chicken, kind of claymation almost a little bit. And it is a comedy, which makes it much different than any other show that Marvel has produced. Um, and the reason why it's on Hulu is because it is rated M for mature, and it definitely is. So MODOK in this show um, is the creator and owner of AIM, the company. He screws up being a villain. Apparently, he like tweets where he's going to be attacking and stuff like that, and he gets excited for little successes. So, come to find out that all his stunts and everything else that haven't been making them money has actually gotten them to go bankrupt. So, he's now trying to figure out a way to build his company back up to make sure that he doesn't lose his company. There's a lot of back and forth. Also with MODOK too is he has a family. He has a wife, a son, and a daughter. The daughter looks very similar to him, um, in the sense of in a chair and everything else. She's also got a similar personality to him, although she's much more vindictive and scary. The wife is just trying to be herself. She's trying to make her own life. She doesn't want to just be the woman behind MODOK. She wants to be herself. And then Lou's just a scatterbrain. He's all over the place. Um, no better way to describe him other than the kid who doesn't know what the hell's going on. And they have this robot in there who basically is an ultimate adaptoid drone or robot, and basically can turn into anything. And he's the butt of everybody's jokes. So MODOK sells his company without realizing it, I think, to a certain degree. He's just trying to win back his company, and it's a company called Hexus, and it's this annoying guy who is the face of it, but he's not the one who runs it. Apparently, it's these three faceless creatures who are remind me of Swarm a little bit. Swarm is just basically a humanoid of bees, um, but it reminds me of that. I don't think that's exactly who it is. Obviously, it's just some random. They call them board, the board. Sorry. So there's a lot of antics in there, a lot of him just trying to get his place back, um, a lot of him also trying to get his wife back because they do they separate. I don't think they officially divorced. They do get separated. So it's a lot of comedy trying to build up his company back to his because Hexus is trying to change it to be more wholesome and family friendly, which doesn't help. And then you have him trying to get his wife back, who is now becoming a successful um, YouTube star, which I just find hilarious. He gets kicked out into this awful motel room, and it's just a lot of failing. He fails a lot. It's funny. He tries to join the supervillain league. He gets kicked out because he's not good enough, and then he joins these D-list celebrity supervillains, and they're basically idiots. And he tries to team up with them or control them to get what he wants. And like I said, it's a lot of comedy. Um, One of the ways he tries to get his wife back, that's very important to the plot, is he goes back in time to try to get her to go see a concert that they never got to see. So she agrees to it. They go, and they go to the concert and have a great time. But young MODOK finds present day MODOK and tries to figure out what the hell's going on. And come to find out, young MODOK realizes that old MODOK sucks. He's not what he's supposed to be. He's not the dictator. He doesn't own the utopia that he's supposed to have, and it's just horrendous. And Morris said, "Well, I have a family and kids. It's different. You can't do stuff like you normally do." So they get into a fight, and the time crystal gets shot into young, young MODOK. Um, so he follows him into the present. They get into a fight again. He gets sent somewhere else. But the crystals are embedded in his head, and so now he can't. He doesn't change the timeline because he lives outside of space and time because the crystals are inside his head. So that creature, or sorry, past MODOK, continues to plot to try to kill future MODOK, so he can then rule the world. It's convoluted, but it's also got its funny moments too. That guy, young MODOK, hires Arcade, who is one of my favorite Marvel characters, mostly for the fact that he's so simple. He's just a guy who likes killing people, and he does it in the most outlandish ways. He creates what's called Murder World, and I think they did the best rendition of him, in my personal opinion, because they made him very similar to the comic books. He created this elaborate plan where he made like robot clones of all of the family to fight to the death, and they weren't doing what they were supposed to do. So we got all pissed off and left because they weren't playing by his rules, which is very similar to how Arcade really is, which I did like. I did like that. Um, and Lou gets to keep a clone of himself, robot clone of himself, because they couldn't figure out which Lou was the real Lou. They were able to figure out the rest, but they weren't able to figure out the other Lou. So Lou finally has his bar mitzvah, and this is when all hell breaks loose because young MODOK comes in and tries to kill his family. So right before he tries to kill MODOK's family, he freezes time, and MODOK is, "Please don't kill them." And young MODOK basically says to him, "I've seen you fail so many times at trying to have your utopia. There was only one way that you actually succeed, and how you succeed is their family dies right here." So MODOK is left with this decision to whether to kill his family and create the utopia he's always dreamed of, or get to have his family. So it apparently flashes forward. We don't know if he's actually made the decision or not, but we flash forward to old future MODOK, who has created his utopia, and attacking young MODOK, who is still young, and trying to use his crystals to create a time loop to get his family back alive. Unfortunately, young MODOK dies before he's able to do so, and that's how the series ends. It's a dark ending. I was very surprised it ended that way, but at the same time, it's not meant to. It wasn't meant to be always funny. Um, so for season two, what I'm hoping to find out is, did MODOK actually make the choice? Um, if so, how is he going to get himself out of this one? What I also hope they bring to season two is Mojo. Now, Mojo is a character more known to be against the X-Men, but he'd fit perfectly in this scenario because MODOK's show is a comedy, and it's supposed to be like building ratings and everything else. So Mojo is a guy. I don't even want to use that term. I use that term very loosely. He's more of a creature from the Mojo universe, because Marvel and their names. He's basically a green slime guy who's on robotic legs, more like a spider, not so much human, leg wise, I mean. And he is a TV producer in his universe, and creates incredible TV to make everything popular. So he's got like Longshot, who's this hero he has, always fighting, always fighting to protect the planet and everything else. You know, a lot of hero stuff. He tries to build up his audience. That's why he's captured the X-Men a few times and a few other characters as well to kind of build up his ratings because people get sick and tired of the same thing. So I imagine Mojo coming in and kind of being this funny producer trying to build up MODOK, the show. And like, MODOK, we need more of this. It can be funny, but also entertaining as well. Adding a character who is not purely evil, but in a way is evil because they're more of a TV producer trying to just make money and don't care about the consequences. And dealing with reality TV, and I use that term loosely only because obviously superhero world is not necessarily reality, but he grabs people and puts them in real life and death situations and videotapes it and broadcasts it to his entire universe to make money. So I would consider it reality TV. And doing the same with MODOK. And I think that would be a great rendition and addition to add to MODOK. It also gives it a little bit of a meta feel to it, which is excellent. Proving that it's actually, talking about the show itself in the show, which is nice. Definitely would be nice to see. But other than that, I mean, they can do a million things with it and go completely different, like the universe never changed or anything else. But I definitely like my idea only because Mojo, and MODOK would be funny together, and Mojo will definitely boost up MODOK's self-esteem and also crush it at the same time, um, which is perfect, I think, for the show, and it definitely adds a more realistic feel to it because if he would Mojo would be like that producer where MODOK would be the star, and he not ruin his life, but try to make him happy. And then when he no longer makes him money anymore, get rid of him. And I think it would just be a funny dynamic between the two. So those are what I'm hoping is for the future of MODOK, for the future seasons, if there are. I'm hoping. Um, Make sure you obviously watch MODOK. It's actually a decent show. All 10 episodes. I enjoyed it. I binge watched it. I'm not proud of myself on that one, but I did like it. As always, if you like the content you see, please like and subscribe below. Again, as always, this is my 10th video. I got about 21 left, so we're almost there. Not really. Other than that, this is BC Eel signing out. Have a good night.